What's up? Welcome to my channel. So I thought we could start off with some sketchbook tours. That way you can kind of get an idea of what my art looks like, where I started, and you can kind of see me progress in my sketchbooks and as well in future videos. I had to split it in two because I thought that I could fit 2 sketchbooks in one video, and I couldn't. I guess I had too much to say while I was flipping through my sketchbooks. Alright, so let's just get on to it. I kind of just wanted to go and see where I was and how I've progressed in about, I think this is 10 months, but let's see, this one. So May. Yeah, about 10 months. Okay, so like I said, this is my first sketchbook. I actually left this first page blank. I was really intimidated by it. I didn't want the first thing to be a hideous drawing because this was me getting back into drawing. And so I left this blank just so I could come back and put something a little more appealing. And this, I love this. Everyone in my family ended up drawing a little bunny, and so this was my bunny, and then that was my son's bunny, this was my husband's bunny, and then this was my daughter's bunny. So here I started trying to learn the Loomis method. This is when I first started wanting to learn heads. I clearly did not have proportions right, and I heard a lot about the Loomis method, so I went to go check it out. It was fine doing it straight on, and here clearly I didn't know where to start it off, and it was a bit tough, but a lot of people swear by it. And then so here I was trying to do some sketches off the top of my head, really just trying to see what I could come up with on my own. And this sketchbook actually has a lot of that. Clearly I had no idea what I was doing with hair. Ooh, so this was part of the famous artist course, and so I got my hands on some of the first lessons, and I decided that I was just gonna try to copy some of the drawings and sketches that they have in there. So this one also, and I just did some of the ones I thought were more interesting. So I just like how simple this was, and it was just showing how line width can make things look different. So it was just a little doodle. This was also with line width and line variation. And this was actually one of their assignments, if I'm not mistaken. Just kind of putting that line weight into play. So with this, I wanted to try to find a more simple way of stylizing eyes, because trying to do realistic eyes is really tough figuring out the shapes. And so while I was trying to learn realistic drawing, I still wanted to be able to try to imaginative drawing, so off the top of my head, to see what I could come up with. And so I was going through Pinterest looking for different ideas, and there was one page I basically just copied the sketch, and I just love the different expression in the eyes. Like, you don't need anything else of the face, just the eyes alone. You can see so much expression in. Like, this one's clearly angry, and he might be like in a meh mood or tired or irritated. You know, you can, the eyes just show so much emotion, and it was just cool to see it like that. Pandas! I love pandas. Back in high school, my nickname was Panda, and it kind of just stuck. They're so freaking cute and adorable, and there's just a little panda. Little panda. It's a sketch I abandoned. I think this was a drawing prompt with a wizard and maybe like a waterfall, but I was too fresh to try to take on something so big, because this, you can see by my thumbnails that this was big. I mean, it had backgrounds and characters, and I was barely able to draw characters. I was thinking big. On this one, I was watching the show Merlin. So good. If you haven't watched it, definitely check it out on Netflix. But there's the old man who helps Merlin out. I can't quite think of it. Anyways, I was just watching the show and kind of got inspiration of like this old man, I don't know, trying to figure out body proportions, testing it out a little bit. This was actually a redraw. Let me get that. Oh, so pretty. I love this. I also pulled this off of something on Pinterest. Anyways, this is actually my very first sketchbook. I don't consider this my first sketchbook though, because it's really just filled with, I mean, if you take a look, it's just filled with a lot of like basic fundamental stuff. And so I don't count this. This is my I don't care about. I'm gonna just practice my lines and shapes and boring stuff. Anyways, the whole point of this is to show you. So this is a redraw of my husband. This was back in October of 2015, and this was in November of 2019. So 4-year difference. And between here and here, I did like no drawing at all. So this is when I decided that I wanted to try to sketch as a hobby, and I saw how terrible it turned out, and to be honest, I was just 100% unmotivated to want to draw. And so this sketchbook sat on my shelf for years before I decided that I was going to try to sketch again. And then, like I said, it's really just line weight stuff and shapes. All boring stuff, so we'll set that aside. And so here I was again trying to put that Loomis method into play, and you can definitely tell I was not understanding it. So here the head is like really short, and then over here it's really long. I really just did not understand it. I don't know, it just wasn't making sense. And I was feeling a bit worn out by this time with portraits, and I decided to just let my mind rest and do something a bit simpler and easy. And so I did some botanical line drawing. I don't remember if this was from a Skillshare class or a book. I can't remember. But anyways, this, I really enjoyed how stress-free it was, because there wasn't really much thinking about it. People don't know if you draw a leaf wrong, because leaves and floral and all of that stuff, they just have such a huge variety. But when I did this is when I felt comfortable to do my first page. I decided to just do some fungi and mushrooms. It gave it, you know, I mean, better than this being the first page, right? I did a little bit of lettering around. At this point, I started doing gesture drawing and really trying to figure out the body. I actually did a few pages of these. I love gesture drawing. It's so much fun. So here I tried putting that into play. You can kind of see the lines underneath of me trying to figure where things go. Little elf girl. I even named her. Maybe I'll do a redraw of her and try to make her more stylized and figure her character a little more. But I really love the name that I gave her, and it was Alva. Alva the elf. Again, more gesture drawings. Ooh. Okay, this is one of my favorite. I was learning how to block in shapes, and so this actually just started with me blocking in shapes, and they were telling me not to use any round shapes, to just be very straight line and blocky, and that's what I did. So before I decided on figuring out the hair, I started figuring out the face a little bit. I stopped because I really enjoyed the way that it looked. It was just really simple, but I don't know, I love this one. I actually came back in later and then colored the background with that beautiful purple color. But yeah, one of my faves. This was a Skillshare class. Can't remember by who, but again, figuring out proportions, trying to figure out characters on my own and just see what I could come up with. Pretty sure I used a picture reference for that one. Hey, Christmas Day, still sketching. So in this first sketchbook, I dated almost every single drawing, which I don't do in my future sketchbooks. And it's kind of a bummer because sometimes I look back and think about like, oh, when did I do that? And I can't remember. I was trying to figure out light and shadow at this point because I was doing this drawing and it actually had really strong lighting on it, but I couldn't understand how to do it. So I started looking at some basic shading and lighting, and then you can see here, I actually went and applied that shading and lighting, and this is, oh, I forgot how good this was. Okay, so this one, you can see back here that I used a grid method to try to get the proportions out right. And it worked really well for me. And I finally started understanding some of the shading. So the light is just going straight onto his face. And so all of this backside is shaded. I got nervous on the hair because I was really just doing strokes and strokes and strokes and hoping that it would come out good. And surprisingly, it looks like really good hair. I was really happy with this. And here we go back to portraits and a little bit of some wonky lines, but you can tell that I'm really starting to understand proportions a little better. And I don't know if you can really see that, probably not, but this one I also used the grid method on it, and it was just really helping me when I was first trying to figure out portraits. But I also had some struggles with it too. For some reason, I could not figure this guy's face out. I erased it and tried to redraw it so many times. It's just terrible. We're just gonna move on. And so I was starting to get frustrated with these past ones. And so I went back to just seeing what I could do with the top of my head. And I wrote what I thought I needed work on. And now that I'm looking at it, that's basically everything. Like the face shape, that's the face, the hair, and the eyelashes. I basically needed help with everything at this point. I mean, look at them eyes. They got some terrible spider eyes. Her fingers are so chunky. Oh, it's okay though. I start figuring it out. This was the same day. I think the past 3 sketches were in the same day. Yeah, so the second. I was frustrated that day. I just had, you can see right here, I wrote explosion. I had an explosion of emotions and I wanted to just let it out, and that this is what it felt like. And that's what came out on paper. And after I did that, I felt a lot better. Draw your emotions, it helps. This was a Skillshare class, God. The second, oh, I was feeling it on the second. Man, I was doing a lot of drawing. I think this was odd bodies. I'll have to double check, can't remember, but this was a fun class. It was just trying to do different shapes for like the heads and the bodies and putting different combinations together to create a character. And you can see that I highlighted, or more like outlined, the ones that I like the best. This guy I really enjoy. He's so simple, but there's just something about him that's just very appealing. I don't know if it's just the huge head that he has, but he's a little adventurer, and I kind of really want to render him better and really figure out his character. And I don't know, he's just really fun. I like him. And these little bean people, I did some other bean people over here. They were just fun. Shoot, see, the second, I was dedicated that day. Really, really dedicated. Ooh, I actually wrote the Skillshare class on here. So with this one, I did draw a circus of characters, and I'm 90% positive I did not finish this class, but it had really good information because it was showing you the different body proportions based on age. So 1 to 2, you can see what their proportions are like. And then it goes from 3 to 5, 6 to 9, 10 to 14, 16 to 18, and well, adults. And so I wrote down the notes of how many head sizes big they would be. To be honest, I don't really remember these inches, what they were for. Maybe they were like the total inch size. I don't know. I don't know if this was for the same class or a different class, but it had to do with body shapes, and we were breaking down the body shapes of the characters in Winnie the Pooh. I don't remember. Oh, I don't remember what this is, but it's just terrible. I don't even, we're just, yep, okay. Okay, so after doing quite a few sketches of portraits and stuff, I wanted to focus more on specific features and trying to figure out how to draw those features. So here you can see that I was getting into the eyes and trying to figure out eye shape and how the skin and eyelid wraps around the eyes. This one helped a lot. It was tons of fun, and I actually have quite a few eyes in other sketchbooks too that I love drawing them. Trying to figure out faces. Tell me that's not a really cool rendered ear. Can you see that? Yeah. Look at that ear. I just get really excited when some things turn out really good. I celebrate my mini victories, and so should you. Like, if it wasn't for the mini victories, I would not still be drawing a year later. Trying to put in to play the whole learning of the eyes I did, and I mean, it looks more like eyes, but let's admit he looks a little scary. It's okay. You're just gonna accept it. Oh, this is when the coronas hit. And things started getting a little scary, and I was waiting for the president to come talk. The video was going live, and they were in the Oval Office, not the Oval Office, outside the Oval Office, where they do their press conference thing, I don't know, whatever, that thing. And I was just drawing it until he came out, and once he came out, I stopped drawing the surroundings, but that's that. Drawing my supplies. These were the supplies that I was using the most. So we got my 2H pencil, which the 2H is still one of my favorites to start off my sketch. We got my handy dandy kneaded eraser, my mini ruler that goes with me everywhere, and my pencil eraser, or whatever they're called. It's this sucker. The Tombow one, one of my favorites. Again, back to eyes. And I was starting to get close to the end of the sketchbook, and I decided to fill a page of what my goals were gonna be for 2020, because I really wanted to take drawing more seriously. And it was about the beginning of 2020 when I started thinking about maybe creating a channel or doing Instagram, which I think I did start Instagram and sharing my art at this point. But I really started thinking of art as a career. Like, I was like, what if it was my career? Like, that was my dream. And so you see that I really wanted to draw faces. I mean, basically everything here has to do with faces and anatomy in some kind of way. And again, I was trying to fill in these pages. They were killing me. Every time I get close to the end of the sketchbook, I really just want to finish and start something new. You can tell which sketches I really like because I added a pop of color, because this whole sketchbook is mostly pencil. So we got our little pops of color, so your eye just goes directly to my favorite ones. Oh, I didn't finish Groot. This was good old Groot. I am Groot. See it again. Bringing those pops of color in. What class was this? This is definitely another Skillshare class, I think. Oh no, not Skillshare. So in the beginning of January, I got myself a Schoolism subscription for a whole year because, so if you don't know what Schoolism is, it is an online school with tons of amazing artists from in the industry who teach digital art on the site. And if I'm not mistaken, I think twice a year they do these specials where they drop the subscription from like $300 to $198, and I couldn't pass it up because I knew that I wanted to take art more seriously. Yep, there's my little faces. And another one. Oh, I've improved so much. Yes, and this was another one of the Schoolism classes. I think this was like the realism class. These sketches were so cute. Like this frog. Oh wait, that frog, look at it. I love it. It came out really good. Just some homework stuff. So we had to do a scale and understand our pencils. And I did not draw on the last page because I was done with this sketchbook. I was over it. I was ready to move on because I had gotten this sketchbook, which this one's a moleskin. So I was really excited because this was an upgrade. This was my first pricey sketchbook, and I was really excited to try this. So I'm like, other one's done. Alright, and that was it for the first one. And if you want to check out part 2, get a look at my next sketchbook, which is an improvement than my first one, go ahead and check out the next video. Bye guys!